What's up, y'all? Wilson back at you with the back at you, and I am the best reporting on the Eagles. So, a young Dallas Cowboys fan comes to me. First, I'm gonna give you guys the backstory on what spawned this video. So, a young Dallas Cowboys fan, he comes to me and he asks me, he said, "Hey, Brunson," this kid is 21. He said, "Brunson, why are the Dallas Cowboys so happy with winning the playoff game, getting into the divisional round, and losing?" I said, "You too young to understand the history. You too young to understand the history of, you know, how long you guys actually been bad." Now, as many Dallas Cowboys content creators are on YouTube, I have yet to see anybody break this down. And you know, I'm a kind of guy, I like to keep my my Eagles fans close, but I also keep my Dallas Cowboys fans closer, because I know the history just as well as they know the history. Now, what I said to the kid was, "Listen, man, the Dallas Cowboys are, in a sense, going backwards. They are not using the same formula which helped them get those 3 Super Bowls in the 90s. They're using a different formula." And he says, "What do you mean?" I said, "Have you ever heard of Herschel Walker?" He said, "It sounds familiar." I said, "Look it up." So I didn't see him for a couple days. He goes to the same gym as me. He watches my videos. And he said, "Yeah, I looked up Herschel Walker, but it doesn't make sense." I said, "Well, Herschel Walker was one of the best running backs in Dallas Cowboys franchise, in the history of the Dallas Cowboys franchise, while he was a Dallas Cowboy." And I said, what the Dallas Cowboys did was probably pull off one of the most craziest train robberies of a trade that I've ever heard of, that I've ever read about, that I've ever witnessed. They traded one player, Herschel Walker, to the Minnesota Vikings for, and I had to write this down to make sure I was right. They traded one player for a first-round pick in the next year's draft, 6 conditional picks over 3 years, including 2 first-round picks, 3 second-round picks, and 1 third-round pick. He says, they got a lot of picks. They got a lot of picks for one player. And I said, "You right, they got a lot of picks for one player." But it's not about, what I was explaining to him was, it's not about the picks. First of all, this draft made this trade made the Dallas Cowboys relevant in the 90s. This trade got them 6 Super Bowls. There's no other way around it. Without this trade, the Dallas Cowboys probably would at most have 3 Super Bowls. They would have 3 Super Bowls without this trade, at most. This trade did that for them. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing, it's not nothing to look down upon, but this is just the history, and that's how I feel about the trade. So he goes on and he says, you know, well, they got a lot of picks. Then I stop him right there. I said, whoa. You can get a lot of picks. You can have a lot of picks all you want, but you got to draft the right players with those picks. And that's something also that the Dallas Cowboys did. The Dallas Cowboys in 1990, with one of these picks, picked up Emmitt Smith. I believe that was the next year. That was that first round pick, Emmitt Smith, 1990. Because the Herschel Walker trade was in 89. Next year in the draft, Emmitt Smith. So you already replaced Herschel Walker. You already replaced your running back with a running back who ended up having the most yards in NFL history. Then in the next draft, in 1991 draft, you get Alvin Harper. Now, a lot of people might not be familiar with him, but he was a great player for the Dallas Cowboys, a receiver. He was good. He complemented what they already had pretty well. And then you use that second round pick. Use that, and this is all over 3 years you got these picks. Then you use that second round pick and you get Darren Woodson. Then you start winning Super Bowls. Then you start winning Super Bowls. By 1991, the Vikings had already released Herschel Walker. It didn't pan out. Herschel Walker thought he was going to a contender. It didn't pan out. Basically, to break it down to the young Cowboys fans who might not understand the magnitude of this trade and what they did, basically in today's NFL, what they did was they traded away Ezekiel Elliott to a team who thought a running back was the missing piece and took 6 draft picks over 3 years from that team. A first-round pick, no, 2 first-round picks, 3 second-round picks, and 1 third-round pick. Now, basically, one team that's following that motto right now is the Oakland Raiders. The Oakland Raiders got rid of Khalil Mack, and they also got rid of the receiver that the Cowboys just got. It's on the tip of my tongue. I don't know why I always forget that guy's name. They got rid of Khalil Mack, and they got rid of the wide receiver. So they got 2 first-round picks out of it. But why I say the Dallas Cowboys are doing things the opposite of what they did in the 90s is because they gave away a first-round pick for this receiver. But they already got a franchise running back. They already got what they believe is a franchise quarterback. They already got pieces that they think they could put together and hold these guys there. But without a first round, without draft picks, it's going to be hard to do for the Dallas Cowboys. It's going to be real hard to do. So the people that I think right now are mirroring that Dallas Cowboy image of what they did in the 90s right now, I think is the Oakland Raiders. But on the Eagles side of things, let's think about this. If you're the Philadelphia Eagles, right now, what do you have? You have a team put together. You got a bunch of draft picks right now coming up. I think we got, what, 8 or something picks like that. What if? Now, what if? Now, I know people keep saying it's ludicrous to say trade Carson Wentz, but I don't believe you'll get more, and you won't get anything more for Carson Wentz right now. You won't get anything more from him right now. You won't. I believe if you were to trade Carson Wentz right now, you can get 3 first-round picks. I believe you can get a Herschel Walker type. You can get something like that back. I believe you can get something like that back if you was to trade Carson Wentz right now. Now, you might not get 6 conditional picks over 3 years. You damn sure could get 4 or 5 conditional picks. You can get 2 first-round picks and 3 third-round picks. You can set yourself up for the future with a move like that. But without this move for the Dallas Cowboys in the 90s, the Dallas Cowboys wouldn't. What the Dallas Cowboys did was they made it bigger than one man. They made it bigger than one man. And I had to think about this. There's many ways you could think about this. You could bash the Dallas Cowboys for what they did, but how can you bash them when it brought them 3 Super Bowls? So you kind of got to look at the format of what they did, and you kind of got to be in awe of it and praise it. Because at the end of the day, trading somebody is easy. Trading somebody is easy. The Raiders just traded Amari Cooper. The Raiders just traded Khalil Mack. They're going to get first-round picks for those trades. But are they going to draft the right people? Are they going to draft the right people? Drafting a player is hit or miss. It's hit or miss. Some of it that went on with the Dallas Cowboys was luck. And some of it wasn't luck. It wasn't luck. What they did in the 90s was they had a vision. They had a vision. And that still sticks with the core fans now, youngster. That still sticks with the core fans now. The fans that were fans before you were born. So that's why they happy about going to the divisional round. Because they haven't had that type of success since the 90s. Since the 90s. They're still being proud about something from when Herschel Walker was traded. From 1989. So basically it even stems before they start winning. They haven't done anything worth a damn basically since 1989, which all started all their success. So that's why they happy, young Dallas Cowboys fans. I understand you might not. Listen, a lot of content creators ain't want to tell y'all that. And shout out to my guys. I'm gonna give you another shout out in the description. I'm gonna pin it. I mean, a lot of people gave me, you know, I always wanted to do this kind of video. I was thinking about it, but multiple people have been hitting me up. Why don't you talk about the Herschel Walker trade and how it really turned the tide for the Dallas Cowboys? Because they were non-existent in the 80s. They were non-existent in the 80s. And until that trade, that was then they could start calling themselves America's team. That was then. In the 90s is when they could start doing. In the 90s is when you start hearing how about them Cowboys and all this, that, and the third. The 90s is what made their net worth explode. The 90s is what made Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys the most talked about franchise in all the sports. That's what made them. So that's why they're happy. Any inch of success reminds them of what was. But how can you try to do that again when you are wasting draft picks instead of gaining draft picks? You see what I'm saying? How this proves the importance of draft picks. It proves the importance of draft picks. We got a first-round pick for Sam Bradford. First-round pick for Sam Bradford. Ultimately got us a Super Bowl. We draft Carson Wentz. We were able to make some other moves. It ultimately got us a Super Bowl. Well, no, Bradford was on the roster. Yeah, Bradford was already on the roster with Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz took his job. But we were still able to get rid of Bradford and get a nice first-round pick for Bradford. Correct me if I'm wrong, but anyway, back to the young Dallas Cowboys fans. That is your history. That is why right now you're wearing those jackets, because your dads wore them when that happened in the 90s. That is your lineage. Your lineage started really in 1989 with the trade of Herschel Walker. And it spawned you to draft Emmitt Smith. It spawned you to get Alvin Harper, Darren Woodson. It spawned you to have other draft picks to beef up your offensive line. It spawned a lot of stuff for you guys, which is why right now you are arrogant. You get the brag and you get the boast. And you earned it. And you earned it. But see, there's a conflict. It happened so long ago, the young fans don't understand why the hell the old fans are happy. Young Eagles fans, listen to this. We will never taste success and be happy with coming in third place. It's always about the success. It's always success or bust with Philadelphia Eagles fans. It's always success or bust with anybody who's Generation X, any millennial is success or bust. So you old Dallas Cowboys fans that are happy with just being in the moment, it's a new day. It's a new day. My generation and the generation under me only care about winning, which is why we have no idea why you're so happy about getting to the divisional round and winning the division. Why are you so happy when the Patriots were the one that won the Super Bowl? Do you realize your young fan base wasn't even born when Herschel Walker was traded? Do you realize that? Do you realize that? Great move, but it was in the past. Young Dallas Cowboys fans, I appreciate you for tuning in. Because some of your old heads that you watch, you don't hear, they ain't want to give it to you raw. They ain't want to tell you it. They ain't want to tell you. Because maybe they don't even know. All they know is they was good in the 90s and they could say they got 5 dusty-ass Super Bowls. That's all they know. They don't know what formulated into that. They think it just happened. No, it was a very strategic, well-thought-out plan that put them on the map in the 90s. It's a plan that all franchises should think about emulating.